many other issues since he was first elected to Parliament just 2 years ago. He's become a household name, should we say, in a very positive way, and he speaks always with passion in the House of Commons chamber for international law, self-determination, for peace and for justice. I'm delighted to introduce Iqbal Mohamed MP.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Jammu and Kashmir does not belong to India or to Pakistan. It belongs to the Kashmiri people, and this is why we are here today. I want to thank my great friend and honourable member for Leeds East for hosting this timely conference. I want to thank Mr. Shaukat Kashmiri, the President of United Kashmir People's National Party, for his very eloquent and in-depth historical framing and lesson for me in terms of what went before. And I also want to thank the wider United Kashmir People's National Party for convening this vital discussion. And the discussion is on the non-violent pursuit of peace, justice, dignity, and self-determination for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Too often in British political discourse, Kashmir is described abstractly as a geopolitical dispute between two neighbours thousands of miles away that has little importance to the United Kingdom. But for thousands of my constituents in Dewsbury and Batley, and I'm sure the many thousands, if not million plus, of constituents for many other MPs, it is something far more personal. It is where the parents of the Kashmiris living in the UK were born, where the grandparents of the people living in the UK from Kashmir were born. It is where their families live. It is a place they still call home. But as British parliamentarians, we do not just have a responsibility to our constituents who are profoundly and adversely affected by the denial of self-determination in Kashmir. We have another additional responsibility that stems from Britain's deep ties or of complicity in the very origins of the conflict. The partition of 1947 was a humanitarian catastrophe, conducted hastily and without sufficient regard for the complex lived realities on the ground that left Kashmir's political status unresolved. Driven by a desire to minimize its imperial liabilities amidst a cresting wave of decolonialism, Britain set in motion decades of instability, conflict, and suffering. The UK, therefore, bears not only a historical connection to the Kashmir crisis, but a continuing moral responsibility for the violence and violation of human rights that has plagued Kashmir's people since 1947. Yet for too long, successive British governments have treated Kashmir primarily as a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. It's an issue that is mentioned or remembered during every election cycle. We have blindly trusted and voted for these parties who promised to make a real difference to the lives of the people in Kashmir. And every single time, these very politicians and governments have failed all of the people of Kashmir and all of the Kashmiris living in this country. We will not accept this anymore. diplomatic caution overlooks the central truth. Kashmir is also and fundamentally about the rights and aspirations of its people. Today, the situation in Kashmir continues to raise serious concerns about whether their rights and aspirations are truly being respected. We have seen the steady erosion of autonomy, increased militarization, and periodic bouts of escalating violence that have become a depressing hallmark over the past 8 decades. And the situation, my honourable guests, is not getting better. It is getting worse. Yesterday I attended an event to remember the victims of the Nakba in Palestine in 1948. And there are parallels between what has happened to the Palestinian people at the hands of the British and then the colonial occupier, and what has happened in Kashmir and what is happening today. The playbook of oppression, of displacement, of apartheid is being subjected, is being imposed on the people of Kashmir. And every single day that we stay silent, that we allow this to continue, is a day that the whole world becomes less safe for every single human. So it is really, really critical and important that we do not stop raising these issues and seeking justice for the Kashmiri people and also of the people in Palestine. So at the same time, we must recognise that grievances and governance challenges exist across all parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Civilian populations, regardless of which side of the line of control they live on, deserve protection, accountability, and dignity. At the heart of this issue is a fundamental principle that we cannot lose sight of: the right of self-determination. This right is grounded in international law and enshrined in the United Nations Charter, impotent though that body may now be. Yet it is a right that has been consistently violated and denied in Kashmir. Supporting self-determination does not mean imposing a particular outcome externally. It means ensuring that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are able to freely and fairly decide their own political future. This brings us to the key question before us today. What role can the current Labour government play in this conflict/occupation? I believe there is a major opportunity here, not for rhetorical grandstanding, but for constructive, principled engagement to further a productive change to the status quo. First, the UK must consistently and meaningfully place human rights at the centre of its foreign policy. That means raising concerns both privately and publicly where civil liberties are restricted, where those violations occur, and irrespective of where we are trying to strengthen economic ties with the violators. Second, the government can use its diplomatic leverage to support dialogue. Not just state-to-state dialogue, but inclusive discussions that involve the Kashmiri representatives from across the region. Third, the UK should play a more active role in international forums, including the United Nations, in order to reaffirm the importance of existing resolutions and to encourage steps towards their implementation. Fourth, we must support practical measures that improve everyday life, such as strengthening humanitarian access and greater freedom of movement for divided families, as well as the pushing for the immediate release of political prisoners and detainees who have been held without charge for sometimes decades. And finally, Parliament must ensure that Kashmir does not fade from view. It must remain, as I have said before, a stone in the shoe of government, an issue that cannot be ignored until meaningful progress is made. In advocating for a just resolution to the Kashmiri problem, we must also act responsibly. The aim is not to deepen divisions, whether between nations or within our own Indian and Pakistani communities here in Britain, but to build bridges grounded in respect, dialogue and non-violence. As representatives of a diverse society, British parliamentarians have a duty to ensure that our language and our actions bring people together, even as we speak honestly about injustice. In conclusion, while the 80th anniversary of the Kashmir conflict is approaching next year, its longevity does not make it inevitable. With political will, principled leadership, and sustained pressure and engagement, there remains a path towards peace, one rooted in human rights, democratic participation, respect for democracy, and self-determination for the Kashmiri people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Iqbal, for that wonderful and very wise speech.